I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
With a guest.
A special guest.
A special guest. This is my guest. I have him. He is mine. This is my husband.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And we're here together for more shenanigans and fun times. And we're going to get passionate this round, I guarantee you, because we're talking about why not therapy? Why do people not go to therapy?
Yeah.
What plays into that? And that especially goes along with like bad practitioners. So
kind of following the theme of last week.
Yes. Right. We're kind of in a linear go here. It's really nice.
Yeah. Except we're on the mental stuff now.
Yeah. So we did all the physical. We just talked about bias, like medical bias, and then the gender bias gap, as well as, well, we were kind of mental before because we started talking about autism and ADHD.
Yeah, it's true.
And the bias in diagnosing in girls.
Yeah, now
right?
we're just on to the treatment.
Yes. So now we're getting into just therapy as a general rule, because if you've been here for a while, you have heard us say, if you live on this planet in 2022, you need to have a therapist. So we're going to talk about some reasons as to why people might avoid therapy.
Yeah.
Fun times. Should we do a quick weekly recap?
Yeah, I don't know that a whole lot happened, but we can do it.
It's kind of a quiet week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, after you sing the song.
Fine. It's time for the weekly recap.
Check in. Yeah, there are bits. There are whole bits.
He doesn't know. He has no idea what he's gotten into here. It's going to be a time.
Oh, yes. My week, I had one, like always. Didn't die. What did we do? I don't remember anything from last week, which means it was a good week, I guess.
You made a Meow Wolf.
Oh, yeah. I made him
was
release the Meow
cool.
Wolf video.
Yeah.
And then a lot of kid hangout. Because they're at the end of summer now, so they're really bored. Yeah. Nothing is fun. Yeah. At all. And boredom is literally a sin.
Yeah.
They can't handle it.
Yep.
So Roy every day comes in, he's like, "You want to play? You want to play something?" And I'm like, "What do you want to play?" I don't know.
Sometimes at like 10:30 at night, he'll be like, "You want?
Oh, later.
Can we play?"
It's like 1 a.m. now, and he's coming in. "Dad, can we hang out?" Like, dude, I'm trying to sleep.
I'm gonna hang out with my pillow.
God, I feel that.
Right? Like, it's just insane. And I feel bad because I can't do anything to entertain them because I'm bored too. Like,
right.
What? I'm trying, kid.
We're trying to go to Elitch's. We're trying really hard. We're gonna maybe do that. I don't know.
Maybe eventually.
We're gonna try. We have passes. We just haven't gone.
You should definitely go.
Yeah.
I know. It's just POTS has been so bad. So we've had dysautonomic hell.
It's been cooler the last few days.
Yeah, this week's been better.
I just thought of something.
What?
Well, I have friends who have POTS, right?
Yes. And pants?
They are pan.
Oh.
So if I was with them, it would be pots and pans.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Stupid. I hate my brain
well
sometimes.
Done. My brain was doing all the stupids yesterday
everything.
after I got home because I was like fried.
Yeah.
Because we hung out yesterday and we did our live.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
That was about all I did all week was the live.
And then Randy got to like listen in, which was fun.
Yeah.
And so you got to hear that we're all just crazy people who get together and talk about stuff.
Oh, did you see Ruth apologizing
What?
in the Discord? Because she didn't realize we were doing an episode review and she felt like she was interrupting us.
No, she was fine.
And I literally said,
we were like, turn it off for Ruth. We want to hear what's going on. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, you're not interrupting us.
Ruth, you're never an interruption.
Never. It was welcome.
It's our guiding star, man. Got to talk about the issues that are importante.
Yeah.
Yeah, our weekly recap.
That was about it.
Mm.
No news is good news.
Yeah. Anything interesting happened this week?
I don't know. Time is very blurry.
Time
right?
is a blur. I don't know.
I don't know what like a week is.
We had a lot of appointments.
Yeah.
But that was about, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
It was a week.
Stuff happened. Oh, I relocated my ankle finally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. It was crazy. So I turned my foot to the side and I got like the toe part to slide back in. But as that happened, I felt my entire heel like rotate and slide in underneath, and then everything just went.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Oh, and my hip's been out forever. Oh, I know. Worked out for the first time in like 2-3 weeks, which was nice.
You did that too.
Yeah. You have to.
I've been printing. I had a new design that I am in love with, and I just did a test print yesterday. So I hope that.
I went to go look at the TV.
I know.
That is your weekly recap. That's what you did. Like,
that
almost
is
the whole week.
I did. I made a thing. Look at me. I did a productive. Was it stuff I needed to do? No. Was it stuff I wanted to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be made. It wanted to be made. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, no, that was it. We did lots of like interest stuff,
right.
interest driven stuff, because my summer is just about over. So yeah, not too much happening this week. It's just kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff and things. I don't know.
You want to get heated now?
Yeah, let's get angry.
Like last week?
I know where you failed.
I'll try not to cuss as much this week, but I was livid. So
You have to wait. You gotta wait.
we're past the 3-minute mark. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe we can cuss after.
I mean, as long as
After
my
what?
core audience doesn't mind me.
I thought it was
cussing.
like 10 minutes.
No, it's 3.
Oh,
What?
now it's 30. I don't know.
There's a cussing in videos. They like search a certain amount of time to see if you cuss or not on YouTube's algorithms.
No way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can cuss after a certain point, but and only in moderation too. Even then,
Yeah.
you have to be careful.
Oh, so it probably does like a full check of the first 3 minutes, and then
Yeah.
it just like picks segments.
Yeah.
At random after that.
That's
Yep.
what. it
So
feels
there's
like.
no like definitive way of beating the algorithm.
right.
Because, you know, the most
But last
offensive
week-
thing on the internet are
Last
words.
week we were talking about how our friend Crystal got screwed over by her doctor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that
Just
was
straight
so
up stopped
Oh,
prescribing
yeah.
meds.
She was telling me.
I came
about
home
that,
livid. I was
Oh,
still
dude,
so
yeah,
mad.
heated. Yeah,
So
so that
mad.
was a very heated episode.
Yeah.
The one that
Yeah.
came out today.
This week's going to be fun because we're talking about bad therapists.
Well, bad therapist, bad system, bad.
Bad everything. Because
Yeah.
really, like, our theme is why not therapy. So for the people out there who are like, yeah, you say everybody needs therapists, but like, no, thank you.
I've been in that camp though.
Oh, yeah. I've been in
I
that
lived-
camp because it was a
Who
weapon.
hasn't?
Yeah.
Like, therapy was weaponized against us
Mm-hmm.
when we
It
were
was a
children.
threat. Yeah.
I don't know one person in therapy that hasn't had a bad experience in therapy.
Right. Yeah, it's not been good. So I think we've all had really negative experiences. Excuse me, goodness. Like, there's a lot to it too, because I don't know, as being socialized male, is it different? Is your approach to therapy different? This is a question for either of you.
The approach to it.
Yeah, like the acceptance of it. Is there a different kind of stigma to it?
I think
like,
it depends on your internal identities.
Yeah,
Like
that's a good way to put it.
if that's like a point of like pride, if that's like I'm a man, like
Right.
is like a core value of yours, I could see that getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like that's not a core value.
smoke screen.
Right.
It's a smoke screen.
It is.
We didn't get to talk about smoke screening, so maybe we'll talk about that a little bit here
Yeah, you can do
too.
it in the second half.
But yeah, no, I don't know, because that's like the traditional why men don't go to therapy reason that we're given as a whole through media.
I think
Right.
that there are less and less like traditional men that are buying that nonsense. though.
Mhm.
Good. We're eradicating the silliness.
The younger generations are much less like into the whole like I'm a man.
Right.
Like,
Right. Well, because they were raised by I'm a man. It didn't go well.
And it didn't go
It
well.
didn't go well. Well, we've talked like extensively about how Gen Z is like I don't know. It was like millennials were the key. Like, we opened this door, and Gen Z is taking full advantage of
Oh, yeah.
said door. So
Oh,
it'll be
yeah.
really interesting to see how that plays out
like
in a few
the
years
new generation just like used millennials as a springboard and like
to change everything.
yeah, like they're gonna like you know how there's like certain generations that are just like super notable.
Yeah.
that changed the world. Like that's got to be that next generation.
I watch a TikToker who talks about Gen Z being ruthless. Like they're savage, right? They're feral. Spider?
Yeah.
Wow, where is it?
It just landed on the table.
I don't want it. Make it stop.
It's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, so yes. So the TikToker talks about how Gen Z is feral, but she talks about how Gen Alpha, and as they're coming up, they're like freaking honey badgers. So they're the honey badger generation, which is fun. Yep. I love that. I'm like, yeah, tear it down. Tear down all the systems.
That is super accurate.
Right? I love it. Because if you think about like kids who are like, why?
Right.
Why should I participate in this really broken, stupid system? That seems really dumb to me. And we're like, I can't give you a good reason. I don't know. We've just been doing it for a while. But yeah, no, I think you're right. In the like,
I've had a lot of my kids like that I work with have like that reaction to student loans.
Oh yeah.
Like why do you pay it? Well, because like you have to. What if you don't pay it?
Why?
Well, like it's a really long process, and like you can
they're
delay
also, like,
it almost indefinitely.
Questioning credit and
like
whole
why
systems.
do I care and why do I pay?
Right.
Like
yeah. No, they are they're something
they ask me
else.
those questions. I'm like, you're right. Like
right.
I like that when you're like, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
because they're not.
You're gonna have to go do something about it.
Exactly.
Right.
We're like, yeah, well, you guys, here's the world. Use that why to do something different, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think people are more open to the idea of therapy. And it's becoming more accessible.
More men.
Yeah, more men specifically.
I'd be interested to see that statistic. I'll bet that like compared to like the 70s and 80s, attending therapy is like infinitely more.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it'd be a point of shame.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to hide it.
Yeah.
Like if it got out to like your community. Oh.
Right. Well, because let's think about it. Therapy was like, it wasn't therapy.
Yeah.
It was like, we're gonna send you to the like lockup, essentially, or you had the like pray the gay away camps and
and
that kind of like therapy.
The heavily medicated, like sedated.
Yeah.
Like, my wife's been acting up. Here's a pile of benzos.
She's
and
hysterical.
Some very heavy antipsychotics.
It's that wandering uterus again. Man.
Like.
Yeah.
She keeps
medical
back-talking
sedation.
Me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you used to be able to just take your wife to the lockup and be like,
I don't want it anymore.
She's crazy. She has ideas and tried to read a book the other day.
Well,
quick, shave her head and
like
sedate her.
Like they used to do that even for people that like when they would come in themselves, it wouldn't need to be like my wife is like doing this. Like you could like if you went to the doctors and was like, I'm feeling depressed, they'd be like, oh, let's sedate the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because that's how you have the like, what do they call them? The like housewives. There's the Xanax housewives or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you have that like whole aesthetic basically, and that was a thing for a while. That
Still
was like,
is a thing.
Well, I mean, like, yes.
Now it's house dads.
Maybe. Yeah.
Sometimes.
But you had like the whole Xanax mom thing that was a thing, and that went right along with like the white picket fence idea.
Well, and like the Valium moms were even before the Xanax moms, and the Valium moms were like they were notable. There were songs about Valium moms.
I think that's where I was trying to get. I just couldn't remember which drug it was. I was like, I don't know.
Some sedative somewhere.
I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know if Xanax moms was a term that like came after, and I didn't know about it.
The second wave.
Well, and then the other thing is that now we know a lot more. I don't know, a lot more about how the brain works and how socially we can change things there. Like,
I think it's more a part of our upbringing too now.
Yeah.
There's significantly more just like universal level mental health, like even in like our schools.
Yes.
Like year by year they increase like just the like
social emotional
instruction, like they make sure that they're getting closer to that.
Right. It's like scaffolded in.
Yeah.
Whereas
I don't know that there's
before...
like a point that they're trying to reach, but they're upping it compared to where it was for sure.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. Because it definitely is more built in than it used to be. It's now something that, at least for me in our school, it's a point of measurement that we take like 3 times a year. And we check like where they are social emotionally. But yeah, I'd be really interested to see like how that's changed over time, because like you said, point of shame is how it would have been. And even now, like parents of millennials are like, well, why do you need therapy?
My mom does not.
Why do you need therapy?
Does not enjoy my therapy.
Right.
At first she didn't. I think she's cool with it now.
Yeah. Well, because I think parents saw it as a point of shame for them.
Like it was, reflected on them.
It reflects badly on them that their kid
that was like therapy. That was like the last therapy barrier. Like, I feel like the last like big.
Right.
It's a point of shame for like, I raised you wrong.
Right.
That was like.
Or they feel attacked. It's not like.
That was that generation's like barrier. With therapy.
Because I don't think it's a true like, I raised you wrong and remorse. I think it's more because they get angry, right? Like they get mad.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, I did the best I could. Why do you need therapy?
Right.
And you're like, well, buddy, me going to therapy is not a personal attack.
Yeah, it's not a reflection on you. Like things happen.
Happening. Right. Well, and I think like the more we know, and I feel like it was all medication before, right? Like it was like medicate them and make them shut up. And now we're learning, wow, we medicated a whole generation way too early.
Yeah.
We need to not do that again. So we're going to do a lot of skill building in the youth, and then medication comes later if needed.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of let's mess up your brain chemistry by prescribing really heavy drugs before your brain is done developing.
Right.
Which unfortunately happened a lot.
Yeah.
And I think probably still happens because
I think
those same practitioners are still out there.
When I first started going to therapy and stuff, that was the mindset that they had when treating me.
Yeah.
Let's just throw meds at it. Because we didn't really talk. I went on that hold, came out, went to see the therapist that they assigned, and they didn't do anything. We did like a 2-hour intake. Like,
oh yeah,
get to
like
know
the
me
history,
kind of
whatever.
And she suggested all the things that were actually wrong with me now, which annoys me because I could have been treated like 8 years ahead of time.
Right. But I mean, treatment only works if you're willing to go down that road.
Right.
So if you're not willing to, and that's like one of the reasons I have here is like a fear of an answer, right? I think there's still a lot of shame and stigma around like diagnoses. Yeah. So therapy is one thing. You go to therapy, but you're still like a normal person, right? But now, like,
maybe it could be that she was afraid to actually diagnose them out of like, first visit.
Right.
Like, I don't want to scare them.
They're always going to be cautious. Like, they're not going to like diagnose you right away. But
Anna did, but Anna's a badass, so.
We like her.
But there's also something to be said, like, even with like those diagnoses, whether you have them or not, like, the first reaction is like it's medication and then compensatory skill building.
Yeah, it really is.
When it should be the reverse.
Kid, like what's going to be the least impactful? We don't know like what impact it has to like medicate a developing brain, like how that changes the development.
Right.
Like if you have ADHD as a kid and you start taking Adderall, like as the brain develops, like you don't know, like are those executive functions still bad enough that like he needs Adderall? Right.
Well, and if you've not done any work on
like
the skill building, like
the behaviors,
the medication is
change,
a Band-Aid,
but they're not gonna they're not gonna fix anything.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's the way it was with me with ADHD. Like it was the throw drugs in it.
Yeah. Well, and what I've found and what you found like throughout is that once we were able to put a name to something, it was so much easier to manage because we could like attribute aspects of our own like psyche to different things and identify and be able to like break down those behaviors and those things and really start questioning our brain, right? Like,
Right.
okay, what's going on in here? Let's work together to figure it out. But I know other people are really afraid of having an answer, right?
Yeah,
In a
I mean
way.
that's huge, especially for older people.
Yeah.
Avoiding it because they don't want to know,
Right.
just in general.
Or like, yeah, I have trauma, but it's fine.
Well, yeah.
I've made it this far.
Well, yeah,
You're
you,
like,
you don't count it as trauma. You're like, oh, this traumatic thing happened. I wasn't there.
that happened to me once.
I've had
But
that
I'm
conversation so
fine.
many times where like I'll accidentally drop something really traumatic, and they'll be like, "You good?" Like, yeah.
You're like,
Why?
"I'm fine. It's fine.
I wasn't there. Well, I mean, I was there, but I wasn't there.
I evacuated my body. It's fine. I was elsewhere, in the in betweens.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because we've spent so much time putting band-aids on things.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
even societally, just put band-aids on it and hope we can hold it together.
yeah.
Not even duct tape. We're just gonna.
I mean,
Well, it's like the critical analysis of the problem. Like that's really what like this Gen Z thing is really about. It's like question everything.
Yeah.
Why is it done this way? What is the function? Can we
Mhm.
do this better?
Yeah.
it's so nice.
Like, why should we keep doing it just because it's been done this way for whatever? Well, and I think I've had that conversation with my students too, where we've talked about like, do you realize human history, like our society, is a tiny itty bitty blip on a much more drastic
On a tiny
scale,
little rock.
Yeah.
right? But
On
in time,
Yeah, exactly. Scale.
but like in our timeline, it's a tiny little blip. So don't tell me we can't change anything because that's the way it's been done.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it's been done for like 200 years.
Yeah.
That's it. Humankind has been around for much longer.
So basically, what you're saying is everything is like it is, and then Gen Z comes in and they're all like,
Really? Not. Could you like not?
Not.
Yeah. Could Gen Z like?
Yeah.
Could they just do that to everything?
But
Fix
that's
it.
really, like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they understand like what we are on a cosmic scale. Like
Well, 'cause
better than like
if you think
any
about it, like,
generation
Yeah.
prior. Like,
they've grown up traumatized.
Yeah.
They've grown up way more traumatized than the generation with, I don't, like 9/11 would be a Tuesday for them
that's true.
at this point. Like
Yeah.
they have grown
Yeah.
up
Like that was
with
like
a new trauma every year for a really long time. Their schooling's been interrupted.
yeah.
A lot of the older kiddos, I don't know, how old is the oldest Gen Z now? They were 2000, right?
mm-hmm. So
22.
adulthood.
Yeah, adulthood. So like our older ones are questioning the workforce and how
Yeah.
that works, and the work day and how that works, and being treated well by employers, because like
Yeah.
on the grand cosmic scale of trauma that they've experienced, you're like, yeah, work is stupid.
Right.
God, that's
This
crazy
is
to
really
think
dumb.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're right. Like they wouldn't bat an eye at 9/11,
No.
and that was like that
They would
was
be like,
so
"Ah,
traumatizing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that happened
My
today,
God.
because they have to, and so
Yeah.
they've grown up traumatized, not only traumatized but also like normalized trauma,
Yeah.
and normalized like shared trauma, which is really interesting because we know that like shared trauma can build those bonds, but now you have a generation of shared trauma.
Well, and that's kind of happened historically too. If you think about like the generation that went through like the like Spanish flu, and like the generation that was like growing up during World War One and during World War Two, and even like during Vietnam, like those generations that grew up in ongoing trauma.
Well, imagine they have to have a higher threshold for what is traumatizing,
Yeah.
because like in order to regulate just even their nervous systems, they would have to normalize that on a totally different scale than we would.
Yeah.
As we were growing up, because yeah, for them they have to.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I'd love to know how that is going to impact like generationally
Yeah.
on genetics and DNA, because we know that trauma does that. We know trauma can be seen 5 generations throughout. So I would
My
love
poor
to.
kids.
Your poor kids.
Oh.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what traits they'll get? Because we know, like, the children of, or the lineage of the potato famine hold more weight because their DNA tells them to.
Right.
So it'd be really interesting to know what their DNA is going to do.
That'll be like the next generation's DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
What trauma do you have?
Right.
What trauma did you inherit? Let's take a look at that.
What is that going to do to your DNA?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have like all your suppressed traumas just like laid out.
Like,
oh God!
I didn't realize it was that bad. Holy God!
What did your parents go through? Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! I don't think I want to take this test anymore.
All at once.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
I feel like that's like that's a feature that you put in like the Futurama suicide booth.
Exactly. Right before.
Yeah. No, they really are the like fuck it generation.
Yeah.
And then their kids will be the honey badgers out to change everything because why not?
Yeah.
Do it. But yeah, no, I know that it's just interesting because they know where they stand socially and emotionally normally. Like they can come to you and be like, yep, I am depressed.
Yeah.
My kids do that.
And you're
shit,
like,
yeah.
Excuse me, what?
Like I tell you all the
What'd
time,
you
Sophie
say,
will be like,
freshman?
I'm feeling really sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know why? She's like, no. Okay. Do you want to hang out? Okay.
Your kids are really good like communicators though too.
Weird.
Like they had good groundwork.
I have a friend with like a 3-year-old that has like infinitely more of an emotional vocabulary than me.
Right.
Like,
that's when you know it's bad.
yeah.
when they're like, oh, I can learn from you. Sensei, teach me. I'm 3.
Excuse me, 3-year-old child. How many emotions do you know?
I know a 4. How many do you know? 73.
Yeah. That's
Fuck.
Like 89. What?
There can't be that many emotions.
It's like you were baffled when I pulled out the wheel.
Oh
the
yeah.
emotions wheel, and you were like, what is this?
Yeah,
There's
like-
like I feel bad and I feel fine.
Yeah. Give me like, cut that wheel in half. I need 2.
Just good or bad.
Yeah.
No. See, we're all playing catch up because
Yeah.
we did not get the therapy in the early days.
Oh God, no. I didn't even get like a good therapist until I got Libby.
I had one, but parents didn't like.
Yeah, because they couldn't be manipulated. So
Exactly. Well, but that was turned around. They were like, "Oh, you
manipulated this
them
therapist.
into
The
believing
teenage
you
girl
and
has
stuff."
tricked the psychologist
Right?
with her wily
Oh,
ways.
they're getting along too well. The truth might come out. Oh no!
It's okay. I taught you all that shit, anyways. Remember?
Right?
It's all my fault. I was a bad influence. I was in there with like a book, like the anarchist cookbook. Like, this is what you do when you have therapy. This is how you trick them. And they caught on.
You gotta perform rituals at night just to strengthen your charisma boost. There you go.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
got
know.
there. You got there.
I had one good therapist in my like teen years, and then I had one really awful one that I wasn't allowed to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and I hated her, and she was just the worst. I'm pretty sure her name was Jessica, and she was just
That's where the bad starts.
the worst.
I don't know a good Jessica. Does anybody?
I know one.
No.
She
doesn't
goes by
exist.
Jess.
Yeah. Jess
there
is
you
not the
go.
same.
But yeah, no, she was I don't know, she was like, have you ever had the therapist who want to tell you how you feel?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you're way off base. And she's like, but no, here, and I'm like, you're still way off base.
But
And
the
also,
textbook says.
Please
Yeah,
stop
exactly.
talking over me, woman.
Yeah.
This is my therapy session, and you're not letting me get more than 3 words out.
The therapist that I saw post traumatic stress syndrome time said that I was very emotionally intelligent and she couldn't help me. But she also was like, you might be bipolar, you might have ADHD, you might have, and I was like, I might. What do I do with that? And then never saw her again. Like,
God,
that was me coming out of the ER. That was my entire experience.
Jesus.
Like, they wouldn't reschedule with me after that.
Really?
Like, yeah, she would not deal with me.
That's so frustrating. I've had a couple like instances of like, you can do all of this by yourself. Why are you here?
Right.
I'm like, because I literally need it to come out of my mouth, and I need to not trauma dump on people.
Well,
That
there's always
are
breakthrough
around me.
moments.
Like,
just because every
Well, and I
every
need
time you
someone
see
to,
them
like,
isn't like that.
ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, make me dig through my brain, because I've already done all of the surface work. Now I just need you to like use the metal detector. Pinpoint that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I did not like her, and she had me committed.
Yeah.
And that sucked.
That's something we all have in common.
Yes. Hey, we've all been committed. It's great.
Can we be the committed committee?
The committed committee.
The committed committee.
Yes.
I was thinking the Grippy Socks committee.
The grippy,
Grippy
socks committee. I like that.
Yeah.
I stole mine.
Did you?
I did.
They did. They're in his bag.
Take that.
Oh my God. Yeah, but
I
I
love
think
grippy socks.
I think all of us have in common also that none of us saw an actual therapist in our committed time.
No.
Yeah.
They did not.
And I was in for 5 days.
Oh, you think you're better than us?
Because I did my 3, and then they came to
Look
get
at her
me.
one-upping us.
They
Like,
liked me
no.
so much they wanted to keep me for 90.
yeah, he almost got a 90. You need to know your place.
Almost. Okay. Almost.
He's almost a 90
Almost
is
only
more impressive
counts
than
in
kind of a 5.
horseshoes. And what? What? What?
I said almost a 90 is more impressive than kind of a 5.
No, it was for sure a 5.
No, kind of.
Absolutely.
But still,
5.
almost
Yeah.
a 90.
Almost a 90.
That was a paperwork thing. No, see, but I had my 3. Then they came and they were like, "What skills have you learned?" And I was like, "I don't know. I've been asleep on windowsills."
That part of your story
and-
always gets to me. What did you learn?
And I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. Because they would literally, like, in group, they would ask.
Yeah.
And I would be like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm a runaway. And they were like, okay, on to the next person,
Right.
I guess. Like, why
Great
are
care.
you in here, like, taking up space?
Can't you just read my chart and tell me why I'm here?
God. Yeah.
Please.
No. And I didn't see a psych the whole time I was in.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what have you learned? And I was like, fuck if I know. What?
Yeah.
I learned how to sleep on windowsills to get sunlight.
I will say that, like,
I don't know.
everybody I did interact with, like they were great people and they were trying. But
Well, but that's the system. The system is
Like,
broken.
there are not enough hands on deck. Like,
No.
there just aren't enough people.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like
And they're getting
a babysitting ward
They
than help.
they're getting some people that like really, really need it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
they have to prioritize.
Well, it's a
And, like,
triage.
Even
It's
if
just mental
even if
triage.
it's like hospitalization level for us, like that's still mild in comparison to like
Hmm.
some of the others that they're dealing
yeah.
with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and I was in with kids who were like, oh, yeah, the voices in my head told me to kill my mom, so I tried to stab her.
Yeah.
And they were like, and why are you here? I'm like,
Because I didn't stab her.
I
was caught.
don't know. I was caught. But, like,
Yeah.
and they're flooded. Like, there's not enough beds to go around
Mm.
anywhere, ever, at all. And they want to boot people as soon as they're, like, stable.
Did they do like a? This is like a random thought. Sorry,
Huh.
it just popped in my head. When you went in, did they do like a physical?
No.
Because I went in and my entire arm was cut up.
Oh, yeah.
I had it wrapped in a towel. They didn't even look at it.
Really?
Yeah, I could have bled out that night because I was pretty serious about it. You know what I mean?
And you went to the ER first.
Yeah.
And they didn't even...
I think that once
What?
they discharge you from the ER, they're just like they tell the like psych ward like he's okay medically.
Yeah,
'Cause,
but they
like,
never looked at me, even though I told
the
them I
ER,
cut myself.
Like the ER definitely like ran my blood tests and everything.
Yeah.
It's like-
Oh,
like,
yeah, because they were checking your blood toxicity.
Yeah, like so like once I was out of the ER, I think that the ER probably was like
Right.
they
He's a-
gave him the green light medically.
He will live away
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even get like.
I didn't get a physical.
I got a social worker.
Every morning, somebody, like a nurse, would ask me any new cuts or bruises, and then like those questions, right? And then that was it.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
got anything like
And they
that.
were like,
I spent the first day plotting how I would kill myself in the padded room
"Oh no!"
because it was a challenge. I was really insulted
I
that they
did
put me
have
in.
a
God, your
moment of
brain,
that.
Jesus.
I had a moment of like, well, now they've made it a challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, no, seriously. I was like, I know how to do it because they had a cage around the TV. I was like, that I could get to that and hurt myself before someone can get in the room. I was like, I got this down.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Oh no. But
And it was a challenge.
they
Fuck
just
them.
left me alone for the most part, and then I was like, okay, I guess I have to
Well,
stay 2 more days,
you
so I
weren't-
will make up some coping skills.
You weren't freaking out, like acting out, like a
No,
lot, so.
but
Yeah,
when
like
they took me in, because
You
I
went in like a sane state.
Right.
was it the Grand Lake pickup, or was it the time I got arrested
It
from
was
your
the
house?
Grand Lake pickup.
Oh, that was
Okay.
when they got you committed? Was
Yeah.
Grand Lake?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they
like,
came and
picked up
got
in
me
Grand
from the
Lake.
police station in Grand County, and then
Shit.
I thought we were driving home, and they didn't even let me go home.
Yep.
They took me directly to, and then apparently my therapist, quote unquote,
Yeah.
I hate you, Jessica. You ruined my life. Stop it. Sorry. Took me directly to the hospital or wherever the heck. It was
Yeah.
Denver Health.
Okay, so like downtown?
Yeah. It was I'm pretty sure it was Denver Health is what it was called. I don't know. Took me directly there. They had like a signed note or whatever the heck from my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in and I was just pissed. So I'm like crying and shut down at the same time the whole time. And I didn't want mom anywhere near me. And so dad.
That was right
Took
after we
me
got
in.
engaged too.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank
because didn't
God,
you get engaged in Grand Lake?
yes.
Uh-huh.
And thank God I was smart enough when the cop caught me. 'Cause it was really funny. It was Grand Lake. So they were like, hey, you. And I was like, oh, no. I responded to my name. Shit. Oh, well.
You got me.
And then I was like, oh, crap. Okay. And he was like, yeah, you got to come with me. And I was like, fine. And so I was like, can I give my fiance my ring? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I ran back and took my ring off and gave it to him.
Yep.
And then got in the car, like
Jesus.
in the front seat, and his shotgun was laying up against my knee. And he took me to
Very trusting.
right. They were just like, this is not a formal thing at all. When I got picked up at his parents' house, the
Oh yeah, they like slapped the cuffs on you.
yeah. Well, and then she was pissed off because remember she didn't do like she tried to do the pain control
Oh, yeah,
position,
that doesn't work for us.
and it doesn't work on us. I'm not resisting.
Stop
it
resisting.
just doesn't
Stop
hurt.
resisting. Okay.
But yeah, no, she was like screaming at me and like
Yeah.
it was horrible. And I was like, I'm not fucking resisting. What do you want?
Yeah.
And she was like, you need to lay down. I was like, then use your words.
You
I
have to be
don't
the
know.
adult in the situation.
Use your words. And then they failed miserably because I definitely had a lighter in my bra that I had the entire time.
Failures.
Whatever. Failures. Yes. But yeah, no, it was the Grand Lake one
Wow.
Yeah.
where I got caught. And then 5 days committed. That was fun. And then immediately left.
Yeah.
I don't even think I was there, like, home for a night.
No.
You were home for like an hour before
Well,
I
because
had
then
picked
you,
you back up again.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause you and him almost got in a like fist fight
Yep.
in the front yard. That was great.
Yeah, and then I got questioned when you escaped. Anytime you
I
escaped, I got
escaped.
questioned.
Yeah,
Like,
someone
where is
helped
she?
me. Clearly,
I don't know.
I don't even know.
Yep.
We were in a car for a lot of the time,
What is she doing? I'm running away.
sleeping.
We just kind of lived out of a car for like the vast majority of it.
Yeah,
Right.
Honestly,
it's
it's a
like
great way to not
July
get caught. Like
to
go,
January.
Right.
go hang out in the suburbs in your car.
Right. July to January.
Yeah.
We spent like house hopping and then living in the car.
Yep.
And then sometimes we were out of the state just in the car.
Right.
Just cause.
Yeah, we went to like Vegas,
Yeah,
and
we went to
California.
Vegas.
Hell yeah.
Like whatever.
Saw
we're living
Roger
in a
Waters
car.
When your
Concert.
house goes with you.
Yeah,
It was fine. I don't know.
like it was a pretty small house, but it worked.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for like 6 months. Crazy. All because bad therapists be bad therapists.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know. But you've had some really fun experiences because you were much younger when therapy came into your world.
Yeah, I like. They were all super brief though. Like I mean,
But how old were you at the time?
like
'Cause he
I was
was not-
always like I was a problem
He
child.
was naughty boy.
Like I wasn't like malicious, but like I was like Bart Simpson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like putting thumbtacks on people's chairs and things. Like legit did that. Like
I got therapy for being a mama's boy. I didn't want Anna to be a part of the family, so I drew pictures without her in therapy.
I didn't want Anna to be part of the family, and I came out of her.
So I'm just saying.
Sorry. My bad.
but yeah, like I got into therapy much earlier, but like first it was throw medication at it,
Wow.
which was
the
weird
ADHD.
on both sides, because like the doctors were like super pushing meds, and my mom was super med resistant.
Yeah.
And so I wound up in this like, she was like resisting, like, okay, we'll try it, didn't work, let's do it again, new one, new one. Like I never got stable on any meds.
Jeez.
So that didn't help. And then as far as like the actual therapists go, like I'd see them maybe like 1 or 2 times before, like, I don't know why I stopped seeing them. I just didn't see them again. The only real therapist that like I had for an extended period of time, it was like probably from like 10 to like 12 or so.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
and that dude was the worst.
This is the dog story.
Oh yeah, this is a fun story.
This is what's stuck in his brain and was like the therapy bad, and that was filed away because of this story.
Yep. So I had this therapist that was convinced that my inability to like do like behave as he wants was for lack of motivation.
Okay.
And so he told my parents that if I didn't do XYZ by the next session, that they needed to drop my dog off at the pound.
Holy shit.
And that dog was like my best friend. Like,
Yep.
that was my childhood dog. Like, we grew up together.
Fuck.
Yep.
That's
Right?
insanity.
Yeah.
And then
Therapy
And
bad.
so now
Therapy
every-
very bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I see a therapist, like, I have to
You're like,
cognitively get
dog.
past the, like, they're
Yeah.
gonna get rid of my dog.
Right.
Like, I actually have to, like, think that thought. Like, I have to get past the barrier of thinking, like, any therapist I see is gonna get rid of my dog.
Right.
And my
Well,
dog's been dead forever.
yeah.
Like,
But I mean, I understand how therapy was almost like, okay, so going back this week in my group therapy, we've been talking about like power and how that all works, right?
Nice.
No, you're good. Go ahead and open it. But like as kids, therapy was almost used,
It was a threat.
it's like,
yeah, it was like a hammer,
or a pacifier.
like a,
Yeah.
It's like a stop doing this.
yeah. But then, yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was definitely a cornering type thing.
Yeah, it was
Like
it
therapy
was part of
felt,
a game.
yes, therapy felt manipulative
Mm-hmm.
and not purposeful, or like I would go to therapy, but it wasn't for me.
Right.
And that was a weird experience. And then going to therapy and having someone try to tell you how you're feeling when you are a very emotionally intelligent child who could actually, you know, say how I'm feeling if you just asked.
Yeah.
But and then she would do this thing where she would talk to my mom while I was sitting on the couch
Yep.
next to, and talk about me like I wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
and be like, oh, and this like flat affect and emotionally retardant and like all this weird stuff. And then she'd be like, I don't mean that you're retarded, I just am like, you just are not showing a lot of emotion.
Because
And
if
I'm
you
thinking
did,
in my
like-
brain, like, I'm doing that on purpose.
Right.
Because I tried to give you my emotions, and you were like, no, those are not your emotions. And I was like, fine, I'm going to keep them to myself. And you get nothing. Because that was what the game became eventually.
I had that exact conversation when I moved in,
right?
because they were like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "So that I could like be a part of the family." They were like, "No, you're here to get away from Deming." Like, no,
You're like, stop trying to tell
I
me
could
my motivation.
Go back.
God.
Like, it's not like I burned a bridge and
Right.
bailed
Like
on
your
them.
mom didn't disappear into the
No.
ether. No.
But I had this whole conversation, and I was wrong about my intentions and what I was doing. No, just wrong. Fuck it.
You don't get to think your own thoughts, and if you do, they're wrong.
Right.
And so, literally, it became a game.
Yeah.
And I would be dragged to therapy, and I would protest because I was like, I don't like her. I do not like her. We'll give it one more session. 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 I was like, I hate this woman. I hate her. I do not like her. She was too young, too green, and thought she knew all the things. And I was like, I cannot stand you. But yeah, it became a game of like, I'm going to shut down entirely and give you nothing.
Right.
And then you get to stare at a wall for our whole session. Here you go. And so I did. But then I got committed.
Well played. Yeah, but you also got
That
out.
happened.
I mean,
Yeah. But yeah, no, bad therapists, man. And it's hard because you're like, I think it's the same as doctor shopping, right?
oh, absolutely.
Like there's a stigma against leaving a practitioner and going to someone else,
Well, it's
or
because
leaving
they,
because
like,
you don't like them.
like the therapists, like they built this like superficial like relationship,
Mm.
and like there's almost like it's not even so much a stigma as it is like a social navigation to get like out of a therapist and into another one.
Yeah.
Because like if
I
you
was
look at
thinking,
like
like,
where we are now,
systemic.
like I like my last therapist was horrible.
Yeah.
And then we called and like
See, but that's
When we
systemic.
tried to
That's
get-
not like social. That's
yeah, but then like even after that, like there's not openings until like what was it, like the end of October or something?
October. Yeah.
Phew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like the only option that they had was like, well, do you want to stay with them until then? But there's no way that he's not going to hear that. So then for like the next
Right.
month,
It's just
like,
this
you're-
awkward-
yeah,
Right.
it's like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of you, but we're gonna like,
Yeah.
Right.
you're better than nothing for the next couple of months.
See,
You're all
I
I
got-
got.
I
Yeah.
got super lucky with Kaiser because I had Dr. Shields, and he and I got on great, and he was super helpful because we were doing like EMDR, and he was enough to like
Real
question
quick,
my
why do you
brain.
get the doctors with weirdly like
I know they have the best
appropriate
names.
names?
It's awesome.
Dr. Wright, Dr. Shields?
Yeah, Dr.
Fuck.
Shields,
I get all the crazy
great.
ones. They're cool. Though.
and then Minahan is the other one. Fairbairn.
Fairbairn?
Fairbairn. I like that one too. But oh god, your therapist was just the worst. Like I had to look him up to make sure that he was outside of his credentials.
Do you know? I figured out
Oh
what
god,
I like
he was
about
so
him.
bad.
What?
That like the only reason that I was willing to keep him
It's 'cause
is he was dumb enough that I
Ah.
felt confident that he could not take my dog away.
You couldn't be you couldn't be manipulated if you can manipulate.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like but we found you a better one
Yeah, no, I'm really
who I
liking
really
this
like.
one.
She's very straightforward and like no BS,
That's good.
which is nice.
Yeah.
But holy crap, it took because since he got this therapist in November of last year, I've been asking every time after a session, I'm like, so do you hate him? Like, what's going on? You don't look happy. And he's like, well, it's fine. And I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And I'm like, okay. And then the last 2 times I went to therapy with him, and I was like, this is awful. This is the worst. And that man is an idiot.
Yeah.
And you need to not see him again, ever again. Because that was really bad.
That's funny.
Because,
My
like,
bar's pretty low.
but if you have a psychologist who is harping on you about medications,
Mm-hmm.
And
Stay
I'm
in
an
your lane.
alcoholic.
Oh, totally.
I just need to stop drinking so much.
right. Well, and that's that, like, he
Thank
was,
God.
like, fix it attitude, but also, like, I know more than you.
Right.
Like, oh, I can see what's wrong with your life. And if you just follow my advice, it'll be fine. And you won't be depressed or anxious anymore.
I like that he had to have a disability buddy go in and witness how bad it was.
That's why we have disability buddies, because if you get a bad one, it's
She needed one when Jen went.
yeah.
You weren't sure if that was bad or good, and Jen was like,
Ooh,
"No,
it
that was bullshit."
really bad. Yeah. And that's how I wound up with Dr. Wright, because I was not tolerating the bad after
Yeah.
I was told that I didn't have to tolerate the bad.
We need to get Crystal just a bill, buddy. Or we
Yes.
just need to drive down there and be like, you know what?
I'll come down there.
Right?
I'll come down there.
Where
I'll
is
fight
there?
somebody.
Pueblo.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
Exactly.
That's the
Sorry.
whole problem. Where are we? Do we
We're
wanna
probably
take
at
a
break
break?
time, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, really interesting, good conversation, but
Yeah.
sweet. All right. What do they need to do?
Send me money on my Venmo. I need at least $1,000 by the end of the week, or they're gonna kill me.
I'm they. I'm the they. That's me.
Take your meds.
Drink some water.
Eat something.
Have a snack because you are
Or
a snack.
Obligatory.
Obligatory snack.
Yeah.
Take a break
Yeah,
if you can
if you
manage
need it.
it.
Do something nice for yourself.
Yeah. Maybe break up that task into smaller tasks.
Or hire someone to do it for you.
That too. That's an option. You can do
Venmo
that.
me $1,000 and I'll do it for you. Just saying.
We're gonna go take a break.
I just want to recoup my losses.
Christopher needs to touch some grass.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go. So take your meds, drink some water, have a snack because you are a snack. See some sunlight if you can. If you can't, just do something that feels good for you. Take care of you, and we will be right back.
Bye.
Fantastic Pains now has merch. I know we've been promising it for a while, but it is here. You can find our stuff at fantastic-pains.creator-spring.com. We have t-shirts, hoodies, leggings, wine coolers, I guess you can call them, and my very favorite backpack. So take a minute, go check us out.
Welcome back. How was your break? Mine? Fucking awesome.
He got me really good.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for that.
I know what I'm doing now. I've gotten good.
He waits until I'm like fully distracted.
Yeah. Well, you started it. You said, everyone ready? So I was getting ready, and then you decided to just distract yourself.
I saw the face before.
I know he makes a very he's like, it's that shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
I gave
I'm
you
gonna do
proper
this.
warning, is what that boils down to. I
No!
gave everyone at the table proper warning.
I said, I'm ready, and you were like, you think so? That was not warning. That was sarcasm.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Did you do the things?
Hopefully.
Hopefully you did some of the things.
Yes.
We had sunlight, and it wasn't like the hottest hot. It was
No.
wonderful.
Like Randy said, it wasn't scorching.
It
Yeah.
was very nice outside. And then my feet were hot, and then I was done.
Then I was done.
And then I was done. But we have lots of really good talking points. For
Yeah, we
this.
got a bunch of
Payoff.
comments, yeah?
Yeah.
Like
So
answers.
I put out, I can read the post.
Do it.
So I put out to the groups, I said, what keeps people from therapy? Do you have a story? I know I've had my share of bad therapists, but what does it for you? And so we have some really good ones. One of the really common answers was money,
Oh, yeah.
which again goes back to talking about the breakdowns in the system,
Mhm.
because the cost
Yeah, that is huge.
is, well, and if you talk to therapists, they're not being fairly compensated for what they're doing
No, not even close.
at all.
Right.
So all of that cost is not going to them.
Well, and they don't get treated like primary care.
Right.
That's your optional. Oh, you want to be not sad and
Right.
healthy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you?
Like,
Do you really?
you can have one
Pick.
or the other.
Do you want to be sad?
Right.
Or
Like
do you want to be
your
happy?
insurance plan last year, what was it costing you for? It was costing you a lot. Like for me, it was, I think I paid like $30 per visit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 35.
Last year it was 180
Oof.
a visit, and this year it's 150. I think maybe it's
Damn.
100. It was kind of a talking point, but
Yeah.
it's
100
still
would be more reasonable for twice a month.
Well, but when you're in more acute phases,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point where it's like it's a weekly thing, and like that's more than a car payment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the lady that we've talked to, so you're going out of network now is what we're doing, but they partner with network, which is nice.
Okay.
So the cost should decrease from there again.
Yeah.
But it's Sondermind. Is that the one?
Yeah.
And we found a really good therapist. Like we both got to meet her. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I told you the other day how much my bipolar meds cost. Yeah.
Maybe context. Here we go.
It was not a pretty number. I went in and I was looking at like you paid this much, you saved this much. Yeah. It was like $3,000.
It's insane.
$3,000 for my bipolar meds.
That's insane.
That I kind of need.
You think about like insurance. I got 2 EpiPens, right? Do you remember the EpiPen crisis?
Yeah.
Now it's insulin, but like the EpiPen crisis, where EpiPens were costing thousands of dollars, and I got both of my EpiPens, I think for $20, which was insane.
Yeah.
And then thinking about like, and it's hard because people aren't aware of what they cost outside of their like happy little bubble.
Right.
And so
well, it's because it's not transparent.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, I see both sides, and so I'm able to like, I got 2 EpiPens for a really reasonable cost, and I know that there are people who are still paying like out the ass. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why like people go off their meds, and why it's always homeless people who have mental health issues running around, because the systems are not
they can't
supporting
even walk
them.
in a Walgreens without getting arrested.
Right.
Like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like what? It's not incentivized in a.
But the thing is so many of them are like false barriers.
What do you mean?
Like if you know how to navigate the system, there's almost always like a way to circumvent a barrier, whether it's like a financial barrier or what have you.
Yeah.
But they put those barriers up, and so many just disengage.
Well, the other thing is
there was a way to not have that barrier.
Right.
They're not transparent about how to get around the barrier.
Exactly.
They're like, oh well, if you had only done XYZ,
it's almost like
and
a
then
monetary
ABC.
Negotiation.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they'll start at full price, and then like if you
it's
can't
like
pay that,
hospital
then,
bills.
Okay, what can we make you pay this much?
Right.
Can we make you pay this much?
Well, and so many people are terrified of going to collections.
Yeah.
And so they get bullied into these crazy payment plans, right? They're not playing that game. Well, but it reminds me of like hospital bills, where you can ask for like a list of cost, and then they have to drop it to that cost. But not everybody knows that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you get a hospital bill, you can be like, I need itemized cost. And they have to go find their itemized cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay that instead,
right,
which is a much more reasonable price. It's just
I'm like
cost is crazy.
I think it was like a $250 bag of IV.
Yeah.
On my last on my last bill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like salty blood water for $250.
Or like a $50 ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you get anything through the ER, expect it to cost like
my transport
thousands of times more than it should.
Hospital to hospital, it was like 5 miles. It was
it wasn't even 5 miles. It was maybe 3.
Ambulance ride,
really,
which was essentially just an Uber. Like they wouldn't let me like go from hospital to hospital.
I couldn't drive him.
So
right.
The ambulance had to.
Shit.
So it was like a $2,000 Uber.
Yeah, and that's not even the one from our house.
Right. Ambulances are fun.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
I was in an ambulance, but it was for the car accident.
Oh.
And I was in shock, and so I was hilarious. Because that's how I deal with everything.
When I was a kid, I almost got to ride in one. Almost.
Why?
Oh. My mom thought she was having a heart attack.
Oh, no.
At like 3 a.m.
Oh,
so she wakes me up and she goes, honey, I'm going to the hospital. I think I'm having a heart attack. And I was
God.
I was like 8. I was little.
Oh, no.
So I started bawling my eyes out before I was awake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I come to and I'm like, why am I crying?
Oh,
What the fuck is going on? Yeah. And then she took the ambulance, and our our friend who lived like near us drove me to the hospital.
Oh my god. Do they charge more if someone rides with you?
I bet.
Oh no.
Because you're taking up space. You make the medical care harder
Oh, Jesus.
because you're in the way.
Well, and then the
Here's
other
the
part is like the
question, though.
paramedics are not getting that cost. Where's that going?
What about
Thank you.
like when I have a kid that has like a medical emergency?
Yeah.
Like somebody from the school has to ride in that ambulance.
oh shit.
Like,
I don't know
does
that
the
it does
family get
cost
billed
more.
more if
Oh.
like it's the same thing as the ambulance was with me? Like I didn't
Yeah.
need an ambulance, I needed an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
But like rules are rules, and so like you get the bill.
Yeah.
Wonder if there could ever be like a medical section of Uber. You know, basically ambulances, but
You'd have
Uber
to sign
sponsored?
like waivers, I think.
well, they could get licensing.
Yeah.
I just want them to break out and have Uber ambulance.
You know that
Wait.
Uberlance.
What were we hearing about Uber not
yeah, they don't have to
being
comply
required
Oh, yeah.
with the
laws.
ADA
Yeah.
laws?
Yeah.
They don't
Let's
have to have
touch on that
accessible
real quick.
vehicles.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because we found out yesterday. Yeah.
What?
From what I was reading into it, they determined that because Uber is a private company
It's a person.
and the laws
It's allowed to discriminate.
no, the way that like ADA law is written is like what is reasonable, and they determined that it's not reasonable to expect Uber to provide that many like handicap accessible vehicles.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but I guess it
Huh.
depends on what you're defining as like handicap accessible.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause that
wheelchair
could be
accessible
different.
is what they're
Wheelchair
like, talking about.
accessible
Okay,
is
yeah.
different because you have to have like.
I mean,
I think it's different because it's almost like franchising.
well, like there are gray areas. Like
Right.
if you like,
Like they're not Uber vehicles; they're personal vehicles being used for a company purpose. So I
Yeah.
think. I think it is
well, I think that
different
they do
because
have
it's.
like their own fleet now too, though.
I've seen some of that. That they should be held accountable to.
Yeah, like if they're
Like, there needs to be a
providing
percentage.
vehicles, then like a percentage of those
Yeah.
vehicles need to be like handicap accessible.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that it's even so much that as it is like that's not everywhere. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to like find an Uber fleet
Mhm.
everywhere
Right.
within a reasonable distance to like go get a like wheelchair accessible
Right.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Honestly, like there's an area to profit if you want to start your own business
Right.
venture there.
Right.
Handicap
Get a
accessible
bunch
Uber.
of lifts and. Yeah.
We need a
Yeah.
really cheesy name, otherwise it won't work.
It definitely does.
It's like, you know, when Twitter first came out, people were like, Twitter? What the hell's Twitter?
We need something like ridiculous.
It's just
It would have to have fleet in it or something.
really.
I think it
don't know.
definitely has to like have a pun on wheels. Oh my god, pun on wheels.
Pun on wheels.
Pun on wheels. No one is gonna understand it all.
Doesn't matter. They
I'm
don't
gonna
have
call
to.
it pun on wheels.
Pun
Like,
on
it's-
wheels.
Yeah.
All right, we're
This is the
taking
next
out a
big
loan.
thing.
Here we go.
Our next big venture.
Yep, there you go. You're like, fine,
Pun on
we're
wheels.
gonna fill this gap. Haha.
It's recorded and copyrighted. This was
Jeez.
my idea. Nobody gets to take it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, even the podcast name was your idea. So
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's true. So, for those of you who don't know, this came about because we were joking about names for my imaginary biography.
Yep.
Because it was like, this story of my life is like whatever. So I say a lot like, my life is a typo. And then it came down to like, he was like, no, it needs to be called Good News, everyone. And then there were a couple other like just silly, ridiculous ones, and then came out Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. And I was like, oh no,
yeah.
I'm going to have to do something because that name can't go unused. And then we accidentally started a podcast. Hi.
Sorry, I got distracted by Greg. I forgot he was staring at me, and it was very unsettling.
He's staring at everyone.
He gives everyone the stink eye.
Greg has seen some stuff.
I wonder if
man.
he's in frame. Let's look. What's going on over here?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, there he is, staring away.
This is Greg, and that one's Sherbert, for those of you who don't know. And then if you've seen over here, this is Dooney. And this is my cuddle buddy when I am sitting at the table.
No, that's your cuddle buddy.
Sometimes.
He can't fit
She
right
gets hot.
here. I
That's
don't
fair.
really like what I know.
Jen's a furnace too.
Yeah.
She'll touch me at night and I'm like, go away. No. Because I'm a cold gremlin. I need to be icy all the time.
Yesterday I could not feel temperature. He was
kinda
like
flip-flop,
shivering.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
It was 62 degrees in the house.
And I
it
was like,
so
oh.
cold.
Damn.
It's fine to me. I don't know.
That might be too cold for me even. I would notice that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she just puts the swamp cooler on as cold as it'll go and just leaves.
Okay, but to be fair,
Leaves.
while we were out at his appointment, he left it completely off, and we walked into my house, and my house was 75 degrees. And I was like, unacceptable.
You say that like
and
it's an
so I
oven.
cranked it. It is unacceptable. No.
It was 75.
It was a
not
little
okay.
warm, but like
Oh,
opened a window.
Makes me want to gag.
I mean, I can't say anything. The 2 rooms I occupy have coolers in them, so
That's true.
This is how we like it, because otherwise we sweat. My hands are
It's set
all
to
like
60.
still sweating. My feet are sweating, and I'm sweating.
no one was gonna notice it. Now that you pointed it out, though, they
It's
know.
fine. I am a human being. I'm just a girl sitting at a table, okay? I'm not a mortician.
I appreciate you. You beat me to it.
We're not morticians.
You're not a mortician. That's all right. We're not doctors. Don't take advice from us.
Oh.
We're not morticians. Don't. Our advice is not legal.
That was the time we were talking about being frustrated with taking meds.
Oh,
And how they
yeah,
never kick in. Did you get food?
yeah.
You
I don't believe in food.
you must summon a child now.
No, one's pukey and the other one's
Oh, that's true.
cleaning
You
puke.
don't want to
Cleaning
take
puke. Oh no.
food from the pukey one or the one cleaning it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll get my food myself.
Fair.
Thank you very much.
Fair. Okay. Fair. I don't know what we were talking about. Sorry.
It's the second half. There's no.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. I just am here. Oh yeah,
You
girl
made it
at a
this far.
table.
You know what you're into.
Hello.
At
Welcome
least
back.
we've got to get to the really upsetting.
Oh
comment.
yeah. Oh, woo. Okay, so money was like the big one that people were saying.
Mhm.
There were also people talking about how they were just not in a place, like somebody
Ready.
just put not ready, and I appreciated like the forthrightness of that.
Not ready.
And that's fine. Like if you are not ready to work on those things, like going to therapy is a waste of money.
Mhm.
Like it just is. You have to do the work.
See, but then you have to ask, like, what are you doing to
Get ready. Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's like you can hit rock bottom and you can stay there for a little while, but
Yeah,
just
but
don't
that
stay there
place
forever.
sucks,
Just don't stay there forever.
and you don't have to.
And when
It's
you're
so
ready to
hard
get
to
out
get
of
out.
there-
It's you say that, but it's
I know.
so hard.
I've been there. It's not good.
Like
I know.
Yeah,
It's not a good place.
like it's way easier to just get the intervention early. Like,
Yes.
skip the rock bottom part.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
yeah, but
Well-
everyone has to experience rock bottom. I feel like
Yeah.
it
I
has to
don't
happen
know
in that
about
journey.
that.
Well, but it
Like
dispels.
sometimes trauma is just trauma.
True. True.
There's not always a bright side. There's not always.
Well,
like
it's not
I'm
about
a
a
better
bright
person for
side.
it.
Oh no. You're not. You don't become like better for trauma.
No.
But you learn from trauma, and the things you learn serve you
Yeah.
through life. Not to say that like you can't learn those lessons outside of trauma, but for
Yeah.
me, like I had to build skills. We were talking about this last night. I had to build skills
Yeah.
because I had unmet needs,
Yeah.
and in order to like survive, I had to build all these like compensations. And then later, now in therapy, and this is not the case for everybody, but now in therapy, we're learning that the things that we do instinctively
Mhm.
follow exactly what therapy wants us to do,
Right.
which is fascinating to me that we could come to those conclusions on our own.
Yeah.
But we came to those conclusions on our own through like the pathway of trauma.
Right.
Yeah. Like you definitely can learn from trauma, but there are other ways to learn. You don't have to hit
Yeah.
rock bottom to
Right.
learn the same.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like with our students, we always say like I'm here to teach you the things that I learned the hard way so that
Yeah.
you don't have to learn them the hard way.
Right. But
I mean, if you persist, you can go learn them the hard way. That's fine. Like, I'm not your mom, and I'm not the boss of you.
Well, that's the problem too. Like, you can watch people. I've had friends hit rock bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And like you've tried. You're like,
yeah. Well,
I'm trying to.
They have to go there.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes
people have to go there.
right. They need to experience that to then.
Yeah.
Get out of it.
Right. Well, and sometimes it's like waking up
True.
inside of yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody has to go.
I did it, so everyone has to. I'm just saying.
If you're not committed at least once, what are you doing with your life?
I mean, that would be an interesting way to live life. Rich people would be a lot different. I feel.
You're like grippy socks or paying for a funeral.
Yeah. But like, if someone were to say, "Learn these lessons now, or you're gonna hit rock bottom,"
right?
Like.
Well, but that's why we have this like scaffolding that we're starting with
Yeah.
younger kids
Mhm.
and like pushing more and more and more
Yeah.
because there is a breakdown in like empathy,
Yeah.
especially empathy, where people feel like the main character, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there's a whole group of people out there who are like, I am the main character of my life, and you're like, you are a person living your life concurrently with billions of other people.
Yeah. It's the like I'm unique and special complex.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like,
You're not.
at some point you learn that you're not special.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. And so many people take it to be a bad
Yeah,
thing.
they take it like you're offending them.
You don't have to be special.
You
It's
slighted
okay.
me.
Like,
how dare you?
you are still uniquely you.
Nothing about.
Where are the
your
other EDS
experience
boys
has
then?
changed.
I know it's hard.
Where's the boy
They're
representation?
hiding out
No,
because they
there's one.
still have boy shame.
We got a sub. Our last sub was
Yeah?
a guy. I'm calling you out, newbie.
Woo! Welcome.
Thanks for joining.
Welcome to the party.
There's just so few EDS boys. Is all I'm saying.
Well, that's because like. It's
Men
that,
don't
it's that
seek
male
care.
exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
it totally is.
Men don't seek care.
Especially like.
And so they
Follow-up?
say it's more
Mhm.
common. This is what drives me crazy. They say like it's written in all the things you find about EDS that it's more commonly found in females. And you're like, it's more commonly identified
In the same way that ADHD is.
Exactly.
for
men.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that, friends. We had to take a quick impromptu break, and then we forgot where we were.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were in not being ready,
Mhm.
which we were talking about like it's a really good. It's 2 words, not ready,
Right.
but it's so profound how important that is. And you were talking about like what are you doing to get ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and then we talked a little bit about like hitting rock bottom. Everybody has to
Yeah.
hit it, or some people don't have to hit
Yeah,
it.
no.
But I think I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because we did hit that rock bottom and we climbed back up.
But the point really is like, it's almost inevitable for like, almost everybody at this point.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna get help, or you're gonna hit rock bottom and then get help.
Yeah.
Right.
Like-
Like who has
Yeah.
the will and foresight to be like, I'll see a therapist now. Like I didn't.
Right.
I was like, I'd rather go on a hold for days
Right.
than see a therapist.
Well, and it's interesting because I saw one of these answers was the fear of being institutionalized and
Yeah.
having your children taken away. In general, being
Yeah.
penalized for unhealthy coping mechanisms from whatever illness or trauma.
Right.
I mean,
Which
there is safety in like, they can't do anything if you don't tell them like one of the 3, like I'm gonna hurt someone else, I'm gonna hurt
yeah.
myself, or there's one other one, I don't even remember what it is.
it's like I have a plan.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I have a
It's not
plan.
the
That's
plan
part
one?
of the I'm gonna hurt myself. It's something about like abuse,
Oh,
Maybe,
is it like, do you feel safe at home?
or
Along those lines?
like anything about like abuse. I think like if you know of like an abusive situation.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's that I'm gonna hurt myself or I'm gonna hurt someone else.
Right.
Okay.
If you don't say any of those 3 things,
Well, but again,
they
like
can't do anything.
Right.
it comes right back to people are not taught like how to navigate it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are
Yeah.
thrown into a system that we don't know how to use that has all these like crazy loopholes,
It's another
but they
false barrier.
continue
Yeah.
to flog us for money.
Yeah.
Like it's broken.
I feel bad for the people who go in all like innocent, bushy-eyed, and
well, when they're like, I need
They're
help,
gonna get help.
yeah,
and it's not help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we were gonna look at the really
the really messed up story.
Did we tell the really messed up one?
I don't think we did.
Let me see if I can find it.
She lost it.
I did. I'm looking. Let's see. Oh, there was another one that I really liked while I look for it. When they're talking about, like, when you have something complex, like Ehlers-Danlos,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the comorbidities that go along with that, not a lot of therapists understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I've had that
there aren't a
problem.
lot of specialties at all.
Right.
No.
Like,
And it is so specialized because if we look at this like pain and PTSD group, there's a huge difference in how Ehlers-Danlos plays out as far as pain versus like a chronic injury.
Yeah.
And like one traumatic event, and maybe the two are combined.
Yeah.
But
like as a medical practice, like nobody's just like a surgeon. Like you have like a specialty.
right.
Like if you're a surgeon, you're not like cutting every part of every person open all the time. Like
Yeah.
you have like a set of things that you do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we look at like therapy from a clinical lens, it
Mhm.
doesn't have that
No.
same level of specialty. You're just like, for the most part, therapists are just
Therapists. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe you're like a child therapist, or like you like specialize in DBT, or like there are a few, but
yeah.
the vast majority of therapists are just therapists.
Right. It's not like
Right.
there's a trauma
Or like
specialty or.
counselors or
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's a big difference. And like
Yeah. And
with
they
his
do
really
exist.
really bad therapist that like oh god, so bad talking about meds that he had no business talking about, had no
Oh,
idea.
it was that guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So had no
fuck
clue.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Like had no idea what he was talking about, but was like, oh, that's the problem, that's the problem, that's the problem, that's the problem. Also shut up, but
Yeah.
that's the problem,
Just
that's the
stop
problem.
taking your meds and
Right.
Right.
stop drinking.
Yep.
Because my like beer a night. I'm an
How
alcoholic.
dare you.
Right.
Oh,
What
God.
else was it that he
my
was
God,
like
dude.
harping on? He wanted him to have all this like coping skills, safety plan stuff, but did none of the like
The word.
teaching or legwork at all. He didn't
like,
teach
you
you
can't have
anything.
access to like anything. Like,
Right.
It's insane.
mhm.
He was just awful.
But I saw him
just
for like
all
a
around
year, and like there was never like
awful.
a skill.
Well, and that's
There
why I
never,
was-
like,
That's
Because I would ask
ridiculous.
him, I'd be like, "Well, what is your therapist teaching you? What are you working on?" He's like, "I don't
exactly.
know.
He's an idiot.
I don't know."
Yeah. But your dog was safe.
My dog was safe.
Right.
That's the important part.
I mean,
Well, but it is safe when you feel like you have like the upper hand in this situation,
Yeah.
especially if it feels like a threat.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
he
that like not
definitely-
being ready piece.
Well, and
where
I think that
if
that's
it's
why,
a
like,
threat,
I was finally able to say like, no, I can't do him anymore.
right.
yeah.
Because like him being dumb did not make me feel safe after the TBI,
Mhm.
Oh.
because even that idiot was smarter than
Right.
me. So I needed
Well,
to find a
it wasn't-
therapist that like could be smarter than me and
Oh,
wouldn't be a
God.
threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we found one, which is awesome, and I'm really happy with. Okay, so here's this really messed up post, and this goes back to that like people who go in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, looking for like help.
Okay.
So they said, in the year span that I went to a psych hospital twice, when I told my psychiatrist that my psychosis was acting up and I thought I might need a med change or a dosage increase, he flat out told me he didn't believe me and that I was lying and lazy and didn't want to be successful. Part of my psychosis was/is paranoia related, and I already had issues thinking that medical people actually wanted to didn't actually want to help me. So that was enough for me to be like, never again.
Wow.
Funnily enough, I'm a fierce advocate for therapy and mental health care, just for everybody else and not for me. Although I did finally tell my PCP about my worsening anxiety and depression, so she put me on Cymbalta. Hey,
Yeah. Cymbalta team.
Cymbalta. She's the only professional I trust, and she helped me get my EDS diagnosis. But that's awful. Like, horrendous.
Well, and how many people get to that point and then that's it?
yeah.
That really is the last time they see one.
Well,
Right.
and, like how many times do you hear that answer? Like I can't even count the amount of times that I've heard, oh, you're anxious and depressed because you're a teacher.
Yeah. It always comes back to anxiety, and
I am sick of everything being anxiety.
So much. They're like, oh, is it just your anxiety? And you're like, I'm bleeding, sir. You're anxious about the cut that you have. Excuse me, there's a spear lodged like right in my gut.
And you're anxious.
Oh, you feel like a knot in your tummy because you're angry. You're angry.
You're
anxious.
angry.
Yeah, now I'm angry. But
yeah,
the number of times, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about that before when we talked about like the difference between how men and women are dealt with within medicine.
Yeah.
And how outdated some of those ideas are, because people practice for years and years and years with the same like rigid mindset.
Yeah.
And that's how you still have the diagnosis of like, oh, it's hysteria.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your wandering uterus.
But the funny thing, like, I feel like they're so quick to like jump to both ends of that spectrum. Like even like right now with like all the workman's comp stuff, like they're so quick to like, oh, it can't be that you have a TBI. You've always been depressed and anxious.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The whole like one's not affected by the other. That I hate, because they're like, oh, your pain is because of your anxiety.
Yeah.
But then also when you're like, hey, this thing is making this worse.
Yeah.
They're like
never mind that like I was like stable and doing all right.
Right.
Like,
for months.
Yeah.
Like you had made like incredible leaps and bounds from where you had been before.
And then like I hit my head, and like if you look at the events, like there's a pretty straightforward causal relationship.
Right.
But the doctors are so quick to dismiss all of it.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you were depressed before, so
See, it's
definitely not worse now because of anything.
For years I had the same like opposite problem. Jen was harping me on the phone during break. She's like, you gotta talk about it. Stupid Jen. What does she know?
She's only married to you. I don't know.
Doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. I can say that because she's not listening. She's not listening. Sometimes she jumps in and stalks us quietly, so I had to check.
Well, this is recorded, you know.
Yeah, well, she's gonna watch. She will. She absolutely will. I had the problem of I saw 4 therapists, and each one said that they couldn't help me because I was too. I knew too much. Like I understood everything already. So I didn't look for therapy because, as far as I was concerned, therapy couldn't help me. Literally, like they were like, no, I can't do anything for you. It wasn't until I found Libby. Libby was the first one to actually sit down and like talk and walk me through things, which has been amazing. Yeah. But like,
well, it's the curse of high functioning.
Right.
And it's why, like, do you remember my mini meltdown when they were going to send me to the pain psych? And I met with her and I was like, oh my God, I'm not busted enough for her to take care of me.
Yeah.
And I was terrified because, the curse of high functioning, where they're like, oh yeah, you know what you're doing. Why are you here?
Right.
You're like, because I do need help. I need help.
But that's the systemic issue. It's not treated as a preventative
right
medicine.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It needs to be. Like I'm loving that my pain management's paired with it. Like well, at least they used to.
Yeah. But like even now, like you have to jump through so many hurdles to like get an like ongoing therapy that's not like end goal minded.
Right.
Like, okay, we're gonna work on this, and then we're gonna get you out of here.
Exactly. Like we'll fix you up and you're on your way.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay to have like
they're
a
like,
GP,
oh, you're stable for 5.5 minutes.
Is always
Bye.
there.
Yeah.
But it's not okay to have a therapist that's like always
on
as
board.
A
yeah.
preventative.
Right.
That's why I love Libby. Yeah. She's my favorite. Her and Anna.
Yeah.
At my psych. Oh, we gotta get Anna on.
I graduated from Shields, but he told me that I can always come back.
Yeah, but he was not going to come on the podcast, so.
He might if I asked him. I don't know.
Get them both in and just
know.
have them fight.
Fight to the death.
Who's better? Choose your weapons.
He just lets me talk, and then he's like, here's a question for you. And I'm like, shut up.
No.
Shit.
I imagine it was
Shit.
just bruh.
Shit. Bruh.
Like after an hour of you talking, bruh.
And I'm like, yes,
Exactly.
I'm so glad you
You
understand.
validated me.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. One of the other answers in here was like not feeling like you're in a place that was secure enough to be able to put in the time,
Okay.
which I get. Because if you're drowning in it,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I can't take time off from work to do therapy. I can't take time off from whatever to do therapy. Like therapy, because at that point it feels like something you're trying to cram in instead
Right.
of like, no, you need to make room for this because otherwise you're not going to
room for itself.
Yeah. And it's going to make room for itself in a really big way.
Mhm.
And it's going to spill over. But yeah, no, it was, and they said to do therapy, you have to be willing to put in the work, and that takes time.
Yeah.
And understanding that it takes time.
That's true.
And that's,
But like
it's
the
hard.
time's going to come out one way or another.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
procrastinating. Like,
Yes. Oh,
you're just-
absolutely.
you're-
Because you can do it when it's
You can do
not
like an
the end
hour a
of the
week,
world.
or you can let those hours a week stack up, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay,
They're like,
I'm-
let's meet every other day, please.
Yeah.
So that I know that you're
I always
okay
loved
and
that.
alive.
That sense of impending doom. Like
Mm.
as you're hitting rock bottom,
Oh yeah.
and you're like, I had a good day, and then like you like stub your toe, and you're like,
it's
this is
end
the
of
worst
world.
fucking thing that's ever happened to me. No one's ever done this.
Yep.
And it just kind of gets more
Why
and
is
more
it
and
doing
more,
it
you know
to
what I mean?
me? Yeah.
To the point where like it's cold now. I hate everybody.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yes.
hate. Oh,
it's
I spent a
bad.
year in that.
Crazy. I'm trying to see. There's a couple other ones. This was like can't afford it.
Yeah.
Money. That's a really, really big one.
There are
There's
like,
a few that we're talking about how like they just
there are like financial like resources.
Yeah.
It's like that's what like again those false barriers. Like
uh-huh.
if you like know how to navigate the system, like it's not.
But that's the thing is like
But
in order to navigate the system.
I don't know how to do it. I'm still
Exactly.
paying, like,
But you know that there are
an
tools out there
ungodly
somewhere.
amount.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I work with kids that like get financial assistance
Mhm.
to like reduce the cost of therapy and make it accessible.
Yeah.
I know that they're there.
No
I
idea
just
how.
Don't know what they are or how to get them.
Right.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is like we're so uneducated when it comes to how to actually navigate our own country.
We need to like there needs to be a bureaucracy class.
right?
Like how to get through the tape and
Yeah.
Well, as long as medicine is privatized,
yeah.
Yeah.
and as long as like healthcare is privatized,
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be no transparency because at the end of the day, it's still a business.
Yeah.
There's still somebody that's wanting to make money.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is if they can keep people in the dark, they're like, oh, we offer
Yeah.
this thing. I don't know why they didn't take advantage of it. So
Mhm.
clearly it's not
Yeah.
our fault. But
there
they
are
don't
a lot
have
of
to
people
tell
that
people
profit
that
from
those
the medical
things.
system that
Yeah.
stand to lose a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If it's
Absolutely.
if they're not allowed to profit off of
Oh, that's
this
when you have like
god-awful way of
private
profiting.
wings and
Mhm.
private investors
Mhm.
who push for those things and push medicine
Well,
to be
what happened to my
more
pain management clinic?
privatized. Yeah.
Those guys wanted to
Yeah.
like make huge money on a pain management clinic.
Oh my god.
They took Medicaid.
Yeah.
It's real.
And then
Smart.
ran it into the ground and then jumped ship.
and didn't listen to the one person who was actually
in the country.
in the country running the show.
Yeah.
The problem was she was a woman, and they were not. They were Persian, and they were like,
Oh
yeah. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I'm pretty
Bad
sure
news
like they
bears.
just like allowed women to drive out there like fairly recently.
Yeah, no, it's. She said it was bad. Like they didn't listen
Yeah.
to her at all.
No. Well, because what did I say? It's a money laundering.
It was.
scheme.
It
That's
totally
what that
was. Hey, but I got good
it
care out of it.
sucks.
so-
That yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm so glad like you got incredibly lucky
Yeah.
when it came to this shift over to the new one because all of your same people are there.
Yep.
I don't know if you heard about that, but
No.
like after his pain management went up in smoke.
Well, okay. First, you have to explain. It disappeared, and no one knew about it. I got a message 3 weeks after they were closed.
Yep.
Saying,
What?
"Oh, sorry, we've been closed for 3 weeks."
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Fun. Why? No answers and no resources. Like
What?
Nicole tried to like send out like call these people, get in touch with these people, but none of it was available.
Yep.
So it just disappeared out from under me. But all the people, or a lot of the people from New Health, went to this one practice, and they took me with them. Thank God. So I'm still with like the same group.
Yeah.
And they were excited to see me. That made me feel good too. Like when I'm there and they're like, Chris, and I'm like,
they were like, yay.
Shut up.
Because you were, and that's the funny part, is that like, for us, at least, we get super lucky when we find our good people.
Yeah.
Because then they find that they really like us, because we're like, here's what's happening. And also, I'm not like drug seeking or like I'm not pushing anything anyway that's like rubbing them the wrong way.
Right.
And then they learn that we know our bodies, and then they learn to trust us, and then we have this really nice back and forth.
Yeah.
See, but even that goes back to like our mental health conversation. Like, how is that allowed to happen? If you look at like,
oh, dude,
if somebody came in with like a medical issue and the office closed and they weren't like referred elsewhere,
oh, I'm sure that it messed up a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
Like any other healthcare field,
Medicaid,
that would be like a malpractice suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but these guys are out of the country. And
Right. Well, they declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
On
$3 million of debt.
Like if it's a company, you can't sue an individual.
Right.
Me crazy.
Yeah.
So stupid. They're like,
$3 million though in pain management. How?
Laundering.
The whole time they didn't.
Laundering.
Yeah.
They were just like taking out mortgages over and over again.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And then it was horrible. Yeah. Oh my God. Let's see. Another one was the fear of being judged.
Okay.
Which
I get.
I mean, it's there's a piece where like you have to be able to open up and say what you need to say, and
that kind of goes in with not
trust,
ready yet.
Right? Yeah. Well, but it's also like finding the right practitioner.
True.
Because and this is, I think, one of the biggest barriers for people is they try it once, find someone they don't like, and they're like, I don't like therapy.
Right.
Not, I didn't like that therapist. And so there's a lot of that, I feel like, where it's like...
That's a barrier, but like...
But I feel like it's generalized that way. Because...
But if it's just that, if your only barrier is...
Oh, no, it's not only. Absolutely not only.
Like, you look at, like, all the ones that we're talking about here, like, they have one bad experience, and then they've got a really good, like, okay, I didn't like this therapist, and it costs so much money, and I don't want to be judged. Like... Yeah.
Well, and I feel like we do so much generalization, like, surgeons are like dicks or whatever, and like back and forth. But we also forget that like individual practitioners have their own set of implicit bias.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And their own flaws and their own way of thinking about things. And if that's not clicking with us, like, it's okay. That's still an individual human being doing a job. We just don't like that individual human being doing that job. It's not the job that we don't like.
Aware of their own bias too, though.
Yes, but who's holding them accountable?
Right.
Nobody.
Well, and I don't even know how you would, because it's not like you can like sit in on like public therapy sessions. Like, there's not anybody that's like, okay, I'm gonna rate you.
Right.
Yelp.
You watch their counseling beforehand. You're like going through just files and files, like, I didn't like the way they handled that. Moving on.
Yeah.
Make it all public. Brilliant.
Great.
Televise it.
Great. Oh no.
Big Brother that shit. 24/7.
Like the only way to like filter that out is to like experience it yourself, and like if it doesn't click, get rid of them and get a new one.
Right. But it's hard for people to do the get rid of and get a new one.
Yeah.
They can do the get rid of, but it's the get a new one that is challenging.
And it's even easier when you tell yourself you're going to get a new one, because then
you just never do.
Yeah, like you have the freedom to get rid of it, and then you can procrastinate the getting a new one.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a few more I wanted to look at. I just don't know where they are.
Hey, at least your phone works.
Right? It's not all clicky in weird places.
It's not being manhandled by a ghost.
Right? Oh my God. Anytime I sweat at all, it just starts clicking all over the place. My other one. Ah. So they're talking about, somebody asked, okay, off topic, but still very relevant. So they're talking about like what kind of therapy, physical therapy I was doing, more harm than good.
Hey, I've been there.
Hey.
We know. We've all been there, yeah?
PT pushed me into a migraine, yesterday?
2 days ago.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Gotta love
Not good.
PT.
Destroyed my day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like,
Ugh.
those migraines have not been nice at all.
I kept saying, like, can I be done? I really don't feel good. Can I be done? Just
I thought
one
you
more.
were
Just one
joking.
more.
I thought you were like, this sucks. Like, you know how you do. Like, you're just like, ugh, can I be done with this? I don't want to do it anymore. I thought that's what was happening, and I didn't realize it was,
Right.
I'm about to have migraine now.
Shit.
But he's never had them, so it's hard for you to, like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
identify when it's coming on, because you don't know what your aura is yet either.
Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, abandonment. That's a big one, I feel like. Especially if you have like trust issues and you've just learned to trust a therapist and you're just getting into the nitty gritty, and then suddenly they leave the practice.
Well, and there's so much transiency in the field.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this with Ruth. She just lost her care.
Yep.
They moved on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I do that every 6 months. At least,
Oh
3 to 6 months, I
you've
lose
had
somebody.
3?
Either a pain doc or a therapist or...
Well, it's kind of like teachers. Like,
yeah. It's
good teachers don't stay in one
Teachers.
place forever.
right.
Or even stay teachers for that matter.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not like giving what you do 100%, like the good ones move on.
Yeah.
Like, if they're burned out, they recognize that and
That's
do something.
what happens
Right.
to all my docs. They
Right.
get sniped.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the other
If
part
you've
is
got the
like,
therapist that's like been there 10 years, you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
well, that's the other thing is they're not being fairly compensated
Yeah.
either.
That's how I lost Dr. Chastain.
Yeah.
He went from being pain management to like leading the surgical for
Mhm.
hand.
Make some money.
He was like a hand surgeon.
But can you imagine the student loans that he had to pay back?
True.
I
true.
would need some money also if I was in that situation.
He also had problems too, which is why I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had
that's
chronic
why I
pain.
like my like Dr. Shields.
Yeah.
'Cause he had chronic pain. He was like, I had a botched back surgery, and I was like, cool, you understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
My new therapist had a TBI.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right? You gotta
Relatable
find
content.
the broken people and bring them.
Oh, and I found a good
together.
dentist.
Right? What the heck is
I found
that?
an actual good dentist. They
I'm
exist.
excited about your dentist because I want to get in there. So
Did I tell you that I was originally going to get one tooth and they're like, oh, we'll just do all of them. So they're making a whole flipper for the same
which
price.
is so great.
I'll get
And
I'll
who
teeth.
is it?
It's Aurora Dentistry.
Aurora Dentistry. I'm
Yeah.
gonna write it so my
It's
brain
like-
can remember.
Towards the res, like not Arapahoe Reservoir, the one that's out in by Southlands. You know what I'm
Oh
talking about?
yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's
Aurora Res.
it's out that way.
Okay, I'll have to see if they take Delta.
They take a lot.
No, I don't have Delta. I have United now.
My
Great.
they're really cool though. Like I said, the guy treated me like I was a human.
Right.
He looked at my history, saw that I had back problems, and was like, "I'm gonna adjust the chair now. Do you need anything like support?" And I was like,
Hey, Jen's here.
Right.
"Oh no!"
I'm gonna.
You,
Whoa.
you,
Whoa.
Karina, you already looked. They accept your insurance.
Thank you. My brain is
You're
a
welcome.
black hole.
That's what gens are for.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm a disaster.
We're all
Welcome to the show.
disasters.
Yeah. What was
I
this?
think between the four of us, we're a functioning adult.
Here we go. This is the thought that I
maybe if
had.
we had Rory.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. I need the thought. Gotta get the thought out. Hold on. It's leaving me. Oh, it was that, like, dentistry is a perfect example of, like, why are these, like, horrible practitioners allowed to continue?
Right.
And why is nobody holding anybody accountable at all ever?
Because
And then
money.
they get to blame the patient for
Yep.
shit that they fucked up.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
I got in trouble. Did you hear about the thing that happened to my tooth?
God.
They pulled top left, like in the back, because it was decaying. Good, take it out. It hurts. Whatever. After they pull it out, the the dentist looks at the assistant and was like, "Look, you can see his sinus cavity moving." Like as I was breathing, like here, now breathe through your nose, now breathe through your mouth, and they could see it moving. They're like, that's so cool. Come home. 3 hours later, didn't eat, didn't drink. Like I babied the thing, took the gauze out gently, put it away. Yep. Realized that I could breathe through the hole. If I closed my nose, I'd hold your breath. I could breathe through this hole in my mouth.
Yep.
So Jen calls them, and they're like, "Oh, that's normal."
Yep.
At first.
What?
Yeah.
Also, it was bleeding, and this is like it
In
should not have been
world
bleeding.
is that normal?
Yeah, no, the receptionist said it was normal.
It's normal.
Jen
adamantly fought them on that though. Was like, this is not normal. This is not how teeth work.
Yep.
And you are not a doctor.
Right.
Right. There's
she
so much
she
of
was
that.
like, I'll pass it on anyways. Thank God. So we go in. Karina drove me in.
What?
Oh, Jen muted herself.
Okay.
You drove me in because you were coming over to do Friday night.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
And I get there and she looks at it and she's like, "That's not good," and then she blamed me for it.
Yep. And then lied. She was like, "Oh, we are gonna have to remove this really beautiful clot that was forming."
No,
there was no clot.
It was bleeding.
Gushing blood the whole time.
Yeah.
It wasn't gushing, but it was like steady.
Oh yeah.
Steady bleed the whole time.
Yep.
And he was in fucking like horrible pain because can you imagine having your sinus pierced?
Yeah, it was not fun.
Oh my God.
And now I have a new dentist.
Yeah. And we got there and
See,
she
but, like,
tried to blame him. Like she was like, "Oh, it was fine when you left here."
Yeah.
That's
Except
what happens when the goal is profit, not
Yes,
health.
exactly.
Like, your health is a product.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like they can't have sold you a bad product.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise.
Well, they tried to cover it up too, because
Yep.
like they stayed after the place closed.
Yeah.
And they just rush jobbed it. They just jumped in there and started going to town on like.
Yeah.
They put in the collagen, then they sewed
Yep.
it up, and
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. They manhandled the crap out of you, but at least like they got it done.
And then they wrote me a pain med prescription.
And didn't put the number of pills on it, so he couldn't fill it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I didn't get it until like a week later.
Yeah. They were awful.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I was going to say. Like, what the heck? Insurance getting to make medical decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And like what we're going
Why
through
is
right
anybody
now.
but doctors
Yes.
making
Yeah.
doctor decisions?
Exactly. And what we're going through right now with workman's comp, and they're trying to like they need like to prove and approve
Right.
that all of this was because of the injury and all blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah.
The amount of
But I'm
not
like,
doctors
you're
that are
not a
involved
doctor.
is Unbelievable.
Could you just not?
That's so handy.
Right.
When someone can just look at it and be like, "Oh, I'm not a doctor," but that's obviously not connected.
This is expensive and I don't want to pay for it. So no, it's not covered. And you're like, okay, but they need that or they're gonna die.
Well, they
I
just
don't
prey on the people who
care.
don't fight back.
Yeah.
Which sucks because that's a lot of people
Right.
just compliant. Like, okay, I
And
guess
it's
this
the
is
people
it.
that need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like most of the people that are getting screwed over are the people that like there's no fight left in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
I've
it's
been
hard.
there.
It's hard to like. I get it. Persistence is key, right? But it's
But there
draining.
and there needs to be like a more
disheartening.
accessible way, like with where I'm at right now.
And it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Like
It's
if I didn't
loud.
have
It scares me.
if I didn't have you like helping me navigate all the like medical and workman's comp stuff, I would have no idea, and I
Right.
would be screwed over so hard. Like I just
Right.
don't have the cognitive functioning
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like
and that's the thing.
the
I'm like,
reason
you're gonna
I
have.
need it is the reason I can't access it.
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And there's so much of that where they're like, oh, they're not going to be able to like think this through or question our decisions.
Yeah.
And then when you do, they're very compliant right away
Yeah.
because they know that what they're doing is sketch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so frustrating. Let's see, somebody else put in here. Wait lists, not accepting new clients, cash
Oh, yeah.
only, no insurance practices, lack of appointment outside of my work hours.
All valid.
When
Yes.
I was first working with like the workman's comp people and like started to derail, I told the doctor on the phone, like, I'm legitimately worried that I'm going to make a suicide attempt.
Right.
And they
Oh,
first
this
said,
was nasty.
let me transfer you to legal so that they can tell me it's not our fault if you kill yourself.
Yeah. They tried to say,
Fuck.
oh, it's in your contract.
Yeah. It's like you have to like access the medical resources.
Wow.
Which is funny because
And then
we
told
didn't
me,
say
okay,
this, that they,
your mental health is important and we're going to make you an appointment
no,
for like
we got to go
August
backwards.
17th.
Go backwards real quick. Because you didn't tell the part where we got the referral
Oh, yeah.
and
The school
the
district.
school district canceled
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
referral
They
for
decided
help.
that it wasn't.
Not
related.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, you canceled the service that was meant to be provided.
Yeah.
Therefore, yeah, it is your fault. And you are culpable for that. And I'm not taking anything less.
We're getting knocked.
So, okay.
Break?
Or end? What do we want to do, friends?
I don't know.
I mean, there's still a lot that we haven't, like...
Yeah. Well, this is usually how this goes. Because we'll find sidetracks.
Yeah.
But...
Break.
Jen wants to go.
Okay, break. Ready, break. Okay. Ugh.
Call it and we'll just continue recording after.
Okay.
I'll make a new episode after this.
Sounds good. That'll
like
work.
a part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Cool. Works for me. And then we have Wednesday content to put out.
Mm-hmm.
Smart. Look at us. Look at us go. Look at us go.
YouTubing.
We're going to have to cut all that out. Ba-ba-ba. Anywho. All right, friends. This is going to be a longer one. So we're going to call it here and probably do a part 2 because there's a lot to be said. And I think there's a lot to be said about insurance companies getting to make medical decisions.
Yeah.
Because that is ungodly and ridiculous. And I can't believe that's a thing. But yeah, thanks for hanging out and coming along. Thank you, Randy, for joining us. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I've liked it a lot.
Yeah.
We're in the
It's
zone.
been fun.
But yeah, until the next time, be good to you, be good to others, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.